Today, I wanted to welcome you guys to the world of Consuela. It's complex. There's all these layers, and I get a little tongue-tied when people ask me, what do I do? A lot of times I say I have a bag company, but really it's not about the bag at all. It's about a lot more than that. So today I'm going to show you, to start off, just a little video that'll hopefully give you a little bit of a level set of what the journey's been about these past 15 years, and a little bit about what we do.
Let everything come naturally. Oh, loosen the grip of what you need. Home is a state of mind, you'll see. I know you've been searching for better days. So somehow, I hope you'll hear me say, take it easy, yeah. Make yourself right at home. And never leave me, yeah. You don't have to view alone.
So the reason I wanted to show you this at the beginning, I could have done it at the end as a summary, but I really wanted everybody to get to see that this has been an amazing journey. I have met lifelong friendships, and I have gone to places I never thought I would go. So there's been so many amazing, wonderful, and joyful things along the way. But it's also had its challenges, of course. And so, I've really come to understand and appreciate the power and vulnerability. And so today I'm going to open up and share as much as I can openly about my business journey as well as my personal journey. As Dave mentioned, I was in corporate America for a while. I have a computer science degree. I worked at one of the big tech companies, and I was really everything, uninspired, unhappy, just And so I decided I was going to change that. I think I had a little bit of an early midlife crisis when I was 35 and said, I'm done with all of this. So anyway, I set out, I had this big vision, I'd been in corporate America, I'm gonna have this amazing company and it's gonna have all the opportunity for unlimited growth and unlimited longevity. And there was three core things that I wanted to do. One was I wanted to create my art. I had been doing physical art and I wanted to have a business around it. I really wasn't a very good hobbyist, and so I was like, I need a business to do this. I also wanted to work in Mexico, and I especially wanted to work with traditional artists there. And I also wanted to uplift and recognize women who do amazing things. So I set out to do this, but the real thing and the thing that I'm going to share with you today personally is that was a manifestation from a deeper meaning for me. So, I'll preface this by saying that my parents, they did the best by me that they could. They had it hard too. They were married. My mom was 16. My dad was 18, and they had a very tumultuous and abusive relationship ending in divorce when I was 13. We moved a lot after that, and I kind of became my mom's rock. She leaned on me a lot. And, so I started a new school in 7th grade, 8th grade, 10th grade, middle of my 11th grade year, so I didn't really have a lot of continuity. My mom was mostly out of the house, and so I was pretty much living alone by the time I was 14. And ultimately, I moved to Texas with my dad and was completely living by myself at the age of 16 in his office, which was about 20 minutes away from where he lived because he didn't have space in his house. The middle of my senior year, In that house was broken into in the middle of the night. I was assaulted and raped and left in a closet with a pillowcase over my head, unconscious. So there was a lot of things around that, obviously traumatic things, police, investigations, hospitals, all kinds of stuff. But the reason I'm telling you this today is because it really is why I started Consuela, why I had those 3 core mission statements for myself about this company, because I chose not to tell anybody about this. I begged my dad not to tell my mom because I didn't want her to be sad, and I also didn't want people talking about me, seeing me as a victim, or feeling sorry for me. So I never told anybody. And what that did was that heightened my empathy for people, and it made me really recognize that you don't know what people are going through. You don't know what lies right beneath the surface, especially people who seem successful, that there may be a lot of other things that make them who they are that we just don't see. So I started this company based on my art thesis process called The Art of the Unmatched. And that came from that study in human nature, human journey, and unmatched meaning it's intentionally unmatched versus mismatched, like 2 socks you grab out of the drawer that are the wrong socks. So each person is unique and beautifully perfect in their journey of all the experiences they've had. I started making my art and figuring out how it could be a business, and so I started doing these bags. This is our classic tote. It's still our best seller today after 15 years, but I started using all these different textures and colors that evoked emotion in people. People loved it. It was great, doing well, and so now I got to go on to my second part of my mission statement for my company, which was to work in Mexico and to work with artists in Mexico. So in 2008, when I was attempting to start wholesaling, I got my first finished good factory in Mexico, and also my first textile factory, and I still work with those people today. They're some of my deepest friendships and relationships, so it's been an amazing journey. Why Mexico? Some of the good memories I do have were driving in a car with my dad through Mexico, multiple trips, car trips, and I just was really impacted by the texture of the buildings and the drives and the flowers and the women in embroidered dresses and the warmth of the people. And one thing in Mexican culture is that family has really high priority and high value, and I didn't really have that, so I really resonated and always felt at home there, which is why this was so important to me. As you can see, we are responsible for over 650 jobs, full-time jobs in Mexico now, and it's very different manufacturing there because you are responsible for the welfare of the people. It's not like another customer is going to come along. You are really responsible for the whole supply chain, from materials sourcing and development all the way through finished goods. So this is a really proud moment for us, and we actually are expanding and have our own offices in Mexico now and keep expanding throughout the country as well. I'm going to click through this a little bit quickly, but another thing I did want to share is that, the other great thing about my relationships in Mexico is all of the factories there are multi-generational. Not just the artists, but the finished good factories. It's like 2 of the ones I started with initially, I started with the fathers, and now the sons are running those companies. And so again, these are lifelong relationships for me and for our company and for them. So all of our success, it leads right back to their success. This is clicking through. This is a paper mache. These are 4 of the techniques that we work with, and some of the people from the community. Embroidery is really important for us. Weaving and beadwork. And the people here have been able to expand, and especially like the beadwork, the community that does that, they're nomadic a lot and they move around. And so Morelio, who is our contact for the community, I started with him and his family about 8 years ago, and it expanded and expanded, and now we're working with 35 people from his community. They're still able to live the way they live and move around and drop off art pieces to him that then we incorporate into finished goods. So it's really a positive thing. Also, the steady income enables future generations to be able to continue this work. If they can't sell these traditional art pieces, then their kids have to go off and get different types of work. And so it's a really important thing. The next thing, and the third part of my whole business idea, was lifting women. And so we have this program we started about 3 years ago called It's Not About the Bag. And what we do is we have a nomination process. Anybody can write in, and nominate a woman who is out there just really, kicking butt and doing amazing things. And often, almost always, it's through resilience, grit, and through adversity that those women still choose to be a positive light, support their community and their families. And so through this, we came up with our mission statement for our company, which is Make Today Ridiculously Awesome. That's in all of our products, and it's because of this choice of that, you can choose to be resilient, you can choose what your life's gonna be about and what your story is gonna be, and that's what these women do. So I wanted to share with you guys, this is a few of the women, and in particular, just a couple of stories. This one, for example, Dr. Julie, she is one of the few pediatric surgeons, Mexican-American pediatric surgeon in the US. And if that's not accomplishment enough, she went with her own time and resources and developed a pediatric infant care apparel line so that the little infants she operates on have this apparel where the tubes and everything can come out, and she gives that to the families who come in that she operates on. And then she's also a single mom of a son because her husband passed away unexpectedly. So it's like the layers and layers of complexity of these people and the good that they're doing. And what touches me the most about this picture is look how touched she is. She's doing all this stuff out there, but then somebody just said, hey, we give her a certificate of awesomeness, a handwritten note saying thank you, and some Consuela goodies, and she's just moved to tears. So it's really important. Cindy's a teacher. A student nominated her, saying how much she had meant to her and how she impacted her whole life. And Javasia is a survivor of multiple illnesses and has just gone on to have a blog and teach people about blogging through pain of illness. So it's really incredible. But the journey is real. So, I want to always show you all the good, and we're doing all this good work, but back in 2006, when I started the company, it was good, and I had this big vision, but of course, I didn't know what I was doing. And I'm share with you our revenue numbers a little bit because it helps depict this long journey I've been on. This starts at 2010. Of course, from 2006 on isn't even replicated there, but so for those 8 years, it was great. Those are tiny numbers, but it's just me, my husband helping me a little bit, and some people helping us. But it was like we're growing. We're always 50% or more growth. It's awesome. We've got something here. Yay! And we knew that we needed to scale, and so I was starting to try to figure that out. I start asking people, how do I do this? What do I do? First thing I hear is Mexico is never going to be able to scale with you. You need to go to India and China. So about in this 2012 and 2013, I'm flying all over the world to India and China and having factories there too. And it was just so much for me and that small company that it started really taking its toll. And I was getting really exhausted and it wasn't working. Enter the next 3 years that were really fun. I actually joke with Dave that if they have Evergreen Awards, I get the P for Perseverance Award, at least get to get nominated for it. So I was, during this time, I was hiring consultants. I was doing everything, trying to listen to any little tidbit of advice. How do I scale? How do I scale? I know I have something great here. How do I scale? Also, back to the whole theme of vulnerability, this was really difficult because I had to continually tell people that I was having a hard time, and I'm a very closed person. I went through my whole life not sharing with people something really important about me. So that was difficult. But in June of 2016, I joined Tugboat, and I came to my first summit. Amy Simmons, who's sitting right there, who's my friend, she joined Tugboat. She invited me to come, and luckily Dave said yes. So I started same thing here, but Dave actually said to me when he interviewed me for membership, he was like, I think you just need to be around some nice people. And I was like, I think you're right, So I got to meet some nice people, and I was like, wow, these companies are successful and big, and you can do this, and you can have these amazing values. And I was inspired, but I was also sad because I was like, how in the world am I going to ever get there? But still, I leaned into that vulnerability and that perseverance, and I just talked to people. I just hoped that one little tidbit, anything somebody would say, something out of a talk would help me figure it out. And the one thing that I really came to discover through all this was that really drove in. Each person's journey has to be their own. I kept hoping, even one time I met with Dave, and I just hoped he was going to tell me, what was I supposed to do, And he didn't, and I was like, dang, So I figured that you just have to keep trying, and you have to keep asking, and little bitty tidbits will make sense to you, and ultimately it will happen. So through this and some of the connections I met at Tugboat, I started looking, instead of for consultants, for my number two, who could run the business for me and grow the business while I was focused on vision and creative. And again, through a friend at Tugboat, actually John Garrett, CFO, I met Matt, who's sitting in the audience today too, who's now been with Consuela for 4 years, and he's our president. And this is what has happened since then. So perseverance pays off, yes. Yeah. And also, now we have a leadership team. Like, wow, so we have 30+ core team members now, and 8 of them are this amazing leadership team with great big backgrounds, and they actually know what to do in their area. And of course, I'm joking, but I knew I needed this. It took a lot. It literally took 3 years of trying to figure out who the people, how they are, and I just don't think that it could have happened in any different time now that I'm through it. But it has been amazing, and it is just so meaningful to me to now have this team around. So what happens next for us? Obviously, we've made it through one big tranche of hardship and managed to get there. But now, after all that perseverance, it's about shifting to people first, because now we have this amazing team, and we have to have a strategy that is clear to them, that they can execute on, that they believe in. And a lot of this team is coming from big publicly traded companies, and they're not familiar with evergreen principles. And so it's a little bit of a shift to try to talk about this and how our strategy could be different than a traditional strategy especially for the retail and e-com space, retail e-com space. So I feel like we got to one plateau. It took 15 years to get there, so I would say we're definitely on the evergreen trajectory of being around for a long time. And I just hope that it doesn't take another 15 years to get to the next place. But also, I just wanted to share, these are photos of sunsets that I take throughout this journey, and I just wanted to emphasize that none of this was ever about the bag for me. It was always about enjoying sunsets, enjoying relationships, and just growing through life, and I feel like I have been so blessed to be able to do that, and I hope that that keeps happening. So yeah, it's not about the bag, and it really never has been. So, thank you.